Okay, so this is the 4th annual 9/11 Film Festival, and it's a benefit for the Northern California 9/11 Truth Alliance. And I'm the founder of the Northern California 9/11 Truth Alliance. And when we created the group, one of our goals was to show a documentary. It was called Aftermath: Unanswered Questions from 9/11. It was one of the first American documentaries to come out. And since then, we've done a number of premieres. I also organized the first San Francisco Citizens International Inquiry into 9/11. And in this process, just bringing together hundreds of people to see these documentaries, we've been able to break the issue into the press. We've also been able to bring people together to be able to talk about this topic safely. It is a taboo topic in a lot of areas, but here there's enough critical mass where people could comfortably talk to one another. In fact, at the inquiry, one of the purposes was to bring together eyewitnesses, whistleblowers, to just create space for people to come and share their stories. So that's one of the purposes of of having these events. And the Grand Lake Theater owner is extremely generous, so he just gives us the theater for free, basically, on September 11th and encourages us to use it. And we've just can't resist the opportunity. So we have had film festivals here for the last 4 years. This is the 4th one. And I'm glad we have a good turnout today. And we have so many new documentaries. One of the documentaries we'll be showing in the evening is Zero, an investigation into 9/11. And it's very significant because this film was shown to the European Parliament, and it is going to be broadcast in Russia today. So it'll reach 20 million, 30 million people. And we've just discovered, according to Reuters, that the world is not 99% convinced that the official story is true. In fact, there are large numbers of people questioning the official story and wondering who was behind 9/11. So in addition to the Italian documentary, we have a German documentary, the American films, and it's good to know that people are questioning this event all over the world. And the films themselves have also been phenomena on the internet, and they've inspired other people. I've been doing this a long time, believe me. But the film Loose Change inspired a young Australian to make a film called Fool Me Twice about the Bali bombings and Australia's role in that, and East Timor, and it's a very, very good documentary. In fact, one of the challenges we have is we can't fit all the great documentaries into the film festival. There's one out right now, The Elephant in the Room. It won an award at the London Film Festival. I really wanted to include that film, but we just didn't get it in time to be able to send review copies to the press and fit it into the program. So we did the best we could under the circumstances. It's all a grassroots volunteer effort, and we just do what we can to understand what's going on and share that information as widely as possible. And also to demand a real investigation of 9/11.
When somebody comes to a festival like this for the first time, what do you think what will they come across? What will be their experience? What's in store for them?
Well, it depends. I mean, we have this real wide variety of films. Right now, they're showing highlights of 9/11 Press for Truth. I think that's a very good basic 9/11 101 film for people to see.
That's the one you just introduced?
I forgot to introduce the film. I just was speaking about Able Danger, and I didn't introduce the next film, which I should have probably done. But we did premiere 9/11 Press for Truth. We have shown it before at the film festivals, and it is a very good introduction. And what we did do was create a 15-minute highlight version, and we are premiering In Their Own Words, which is a sequel to 9/11 Press for Truth. And it's the families, the questions that they raise, and it's materials that actually should have been or could have been included in the first film, except there's so much information. It's very hard to squeeze it into 90 minutes. When we did the San Francisco inquiry, it was 3 days. And there's a lot of information. There's still a lot of things that we don't know. So trying to condense it into a film, it's a challenge. It's a challenge.
Can I ask, what is your personal take based on your study of 9/11? What do you think happened?
Well, I think it was definitely a false flag operation. And I think Cheney was issuing orders from the Presidential Emergency Operating Center that morning that with the EB-4 flying over Washington, D.C., it's really evident that the U.S. intelligence apparatus and military knew what was going on. The question is, who owns and who controls all these intelligence agencies, and whom do they serve? Is it the person who has the most money, or are there competing, interests? That's really a big question. But we can identify the big players and those who profited from 9/11. I think what's really interesting, the reason there's a truth movement is that it's the most colossally botched special operation in history. The cover story doesn't work at all. So how many other intelligence agencies help botch it, I don't know. And I have no idea what the original plan was. But there's certainly people who participated in it and used it to launch illegal wars and trash our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and I think that those people should be held accountable, although it's also very clear, if you saw that Able Danger movie, that whoever did that was crazy to some degree, and that they wanted to start a global war. And a friend of mine says, truth and reconciliation is probably better than global war. We should offer amnesty to those who will come forward and tell the truth. And I think that there's some merit in preventing global war and offering amnesty to those who can speak the truth, because one of the tragedies is it was used to frighten people and to just cloud their ability to think and see reality. And I think people don't make rational intelligence decisions if they don't know what's real and what's true. And that's something that American people need to do. I mean, that's one reason.
How do we change that?
Well, try to get out the information that we know, what we know to be true. Let's share that. And part of it it's a very difficult task, because there's all these layers of denial. It shatters a lot of people's worldviews, the myths, the ideals, their perception of the world. When I was at a conference in the National Conference on Media Reform, we had a session on overcoming psychological barriers to 9/11. And
can you share what some of those barriers are?
Well, one person said, well, with most problems, people say, what can I do? She says, but with 9/11, it's so big, people have to ask themselves, who am I? And that's a much bigger question. Because if all of a sudden you find out, oh my God, my government did this, suddenly you find that you are living in Nazi Germany, and except it's the United States now. It's not Germany back in the 30s or the early 40s, but there is a huge parallel between that government and our government. And those who challenge it might have to pay a price. I mean, as I said, I did have guns pulled on me and my son, and we do get intimidated and frightened and told, and luckily I can't get fired because I'm a mom with 3 kids, so I can speak out. I'm relatively obscure, but I have enough people know who I am that if anything happened to me, they would suspect.
Yes, absolutely.
So I hate fear, so I don't want to live in fear. So I would rather, move forward with courage, and that's what I think everyone else has to do, is to have the courage to speak out, and I need to try to do that myself. So that's what I do.